Welcome to the Stephen Mansfield audio podcast.
So on September 25th of this year, 2017, a momentous thing is going to happen in Iraqi Kurdistan. For the first time, there's going to be a referendum to see if the people support the idea of an independent Kurdistan. If you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, then you know that I'm a very strong advocate for the Kurds. They are the largest people group in the world without their own homeland, 35 million of them. They've been the primary boots on the ground against ISIS. They have proven themselves time and time again as an ally of the West. Many Western powers are helping them now in their fight against ISIS. And now at this time, the leaders of the KRG, the Kurdish regional government, have determined that it's time to take a sense of the people and to find out, are we in favor of an independent Kurdistan? I think the answer is going to be a resounding yes. And then some serious problems are going to ensue. One of the big questions is who would support an independent Kurdistan among the nations of the world? Obviously, most of the nations around the Kurdish regional government, or what would become an independent Kurdistan, are opposed to an independent Kurdistan. Turkey certainly is. Iran certainly is. I'm sure you're following in the news that Iran is trying to build strong ties and have a military presence in what's left of Syria. And that would actually create a swath, so to speak, across northern Iraq, which is where the Kurdish regional government is. So Iran is opposed. Iran is playing its games in the Middle East. Turkey, as I say, would be opposed. Most of the other nations surrounding would be opposed to an independent Kurdistan. Remember now that the Kurds, for the most part, are pro-West. Many of them are pro-Israel, and all of them are, for the most part, moderate Muslims who are willing to welcome Christians, Jews, Yazidis. In fact, as I've said many times, the Kurdish regional government actually has a Christian department in it and a Yazidi department in it. So, and a number of Kurds that I know who are Muslim turn towards Jerusalem to pray, not towards Mecca. I'm not saying all of them do, but some of them do. So this is a moderate people. This is not a radically Islamic people. This is a people who is pro-Western. This is a people who is pro-democracy and pro-free market, right there in the belly of the Middle East. And they're attempting to have an independent country. Well, Iran's not going to be happy about that. Turkey is not going to be happy about that. Probably Jordan is not going to be happy about that. The other countries that surround are not going to be happy about that. And perhaps most importantly, Iraq is not going to be happy about that. Baghdad is opposed to Kurdish regional independence, despite the fact they sometimes give lip service to it for Western consumption. And probably as soon as independence occurred, or even when a vote occurred, some are saying even when this referendum occurs, Baghdad would begin ceasing to give IDs and passports to the Kurds who support the referendum, and very likely would no longer consider those Kurds to be Iraqi citizens. It would then mean, of course, that many Kurds would find themselves to be a people without a country. So this is one of the first issues that arises, is if the referendum passes, if it shows support for an independent Kurdistan, which it almost certainly will, what happens next? What's going to happen next, if it's going to be successful, is that the bigger Western powers are going to have to support an independent Kurdistan. And the chief of all of those, of course, would be the United States. Now, President Trump has said he's in favor of Kurdistan.